This is the last week of Feb. The RRSP deadline is here. It can be a confusing time as we try to navigate and figure out what we should be doing with our investments and whether or not you should be investing more or maybe borrowing to invest. Well, Michael Wood is here. He's a Senior VP and Managing Director at BMO Nesbitt Burns, and you're going to guide us through here. So welcome.
Thank you,
It's
Jill.
an interesting time, I think, for a lot of people and what's happening with investments right now. But in your opinion, is this a good time to be investing and thinking this way?
This is, I think, is a great time to be looking at investments. First of all, it is the RSP season. The deadline for contributions for 2015 is Monday, February 29th.
Right.
So certainly, we're seeing more of our clients and Canadians are investing throughout the year for RSPs now. So it's not like historically where the end of RSP season, people were making their contributions now they're looking more just to top up their contributions that they've been making throughout the year.
Okay, so topping up those contributions, that's always going to help you. A lot of people might be in a position where they may not have that top-up flow of cash. So how do you recommend people approach their savings at this time?
Well, I think the first thing to look at is what your eligibility for RSP contributions are.
Right.
So obviously, if you have room within your limits, I think it's always a good opportunity to look to reduce your income tax payable, and RSP contributions is probably the best way to do that. I think the banks certainly are offering very low interest loans, investment loans, for you to help you with your contributions, and I think it's something you should look to take advantage of if you need to. Okay,
and that is an opportunity for people to take advantage. So what is the scenario if I'm looking into borrowing versus topping up? When do I know if I should be borrowing to top up my RSP?
Well, I would typically say if you've got money available without borrowing, that's probably the first priority as to any available cash that you have that can be earmarked for investments. Look at RSPs first. If you don't, but you are in a tax situation that you could benefit from a larger refund.
Yes.
You know, an RSP loan at Prime, for example, that's going to give you roughly a 30% tax refund on that part of the contribution is a wise investment choice.
It is a wise investment, and you can, of course, always consult the experts if that is the case. Now, is that the way to maximize your tax return if you're short on cash, is to do the borrow? Is that the only way?
It's certainly not the only way, but it would be a good way. Other ones, obviously, are to set up throughout the year a pre-authorized contribution plan so that you're either once a month or every week that you're contributing small amounts, maybe from your paycheck, which is much easier to manage. The second part, too, then, is once you've made that contribution, because that's your deposit for your tax receipt, what are you investing that contribution in to maximize your overall return?
Right. And what are your recommendations and where people should be putting that money?
Well, that one's an interesting question because everybody has different levels of objectives and risk tolerance and what they look to invest in. So we certainly recommend that you sit down with a financial advisor,
right, and
talk that through. And but the more popular choice is obviously your mutual funds and exchange traded funds. The ETF business, we're finding more and more people are looking to trade in those as opposed to mutual funds these days.
Okay, and then where do you prioritize the tax-free savings account or the RESP?
Yeah, so those are other, well, tax-sheltered investments as well. It's not just RSPs. RSPs obviously give you a deduction from your income to look for a refund. The TFSA accounts allow you to generate investment returns that are tax-sheltered.
Yes.
Which is great, and RESPs give you, RESPs are registered education savings plans, give the ability to you to access government contributions in addition to your own contributions to those plans, and they're also returns are tax sheltered.
Okay.
So those are other investment vehicles that provide tax incentives as well.
Okay, is this an exciting time for you as you
well,
approach to tax season?
It certainly is an exciting time, not just because it's tax season, but obviously what's been going on specifically in Calgary, but in the environment from the economic perspective has created some challenges, but also some opportunities that present themselves there too.
Okay, absolutely, and opportunities that if you weren't aware of them, they are vast and they are individual, and on a case-by-case scenario, that's where the experts come in. So we thank you for sharing a slice of the opportunities for people at home. Michael, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jill.